She never meant to fall asleep on a stranger's shoulder. But when the plane touched down, and she finally opened her eyes, the woman who had spent her life in glass towers and boardrooms found herself crying, not out of embarrassment, but because of what that single dad sitting beside her had done while she slept. This isn't just a story about an awkward flight. It's a story about kindness, the kind that changes people, softens hearts, and reminds us that sometimes the people we least expect to meet are the ones who show us what really matters. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. The stories like this touch your heart. You're watching your channel name, where we share real, powerful stories that remind us of the goodness still left in the world. It was a cold morning. At Chicago O'Hare Airport, Flight 292 was boarding for Los Angeles, and in seat 14B sat Evelyn Carter, the 38-year-old CEO of a fast-growing tech company. Her assistant had booked her a last-minute flight. After a week full of investor meetings and sleepless nights, she was tired, tired. That coffee couldn't fix. Dressed in her signature navy suit, her phone never left her hand. Emails, contracts, projections. Her whole life was lived through that glowing screen. To her, time was money, and small talk was a waste of both. As passengers shuffled in, Evelyn barely looked up. She just hoped the person next to her wouldn't talk much. Then came seat 14A, a man in his mid-30s, with kind brown eyes, a few days' worth of stubble, and a little girl holding his hand. The girl couldn't have been older than 6. She had big curly hair, tied into pigtails, and a pink unicorn backpack that looked almost bigger than she was. "Hi there," the man said, smiling, as he helped his daughter settle by the window. "Sorry if she gets a little restless. Long flight." Evelyn gave a polite nod, her eyes still on her phone. "I'm Daniel," he added. "And this is Lily." The little girl gave a shy wave. Evelyn smiled faintly, then went back to her emails. But something about the way Daniel gently adjusted his daughter's blanket caught her attention. It was tender, patient, the kind of love she rarely saw. As the plane took off, Lily fell asleep almost immediately, her head resting on her dad's arm. Daniel looked out the window, lost in thought. He didn't touch his phone, even once. About an hour into the flight, the cabin lights dimmed. Evelyn felt her eyelids growing heavy. The hum of the engine was almost hypnotic, and before she knew it, she had drifted off, right onto Daniel's shoulder. She woke up nearly 2 hours later, startled, embarrassed. "Oh my God. I'm so sorry," she whispered, sitting upright. Daniel chuckled softly. "No worries. You looked like you needed the rest." But then, she noticed something. Her phone, which had been slipping from her lap, was now plugged into a power bank. That wasn't hers. I think this is your charger," she said. Daniel smiled. "Yeah, your battery was at 3%. Didn't want you waking up to a dead phone." Evelyn blinked, surprised. Owen had done something so small, yet so kind for her. "Years. Thank you," she said quietly. And after that, they started talking, slowly at first, then more easily. He learned Daniel was a single dad, raising Lily on his own. Since his wife passed away 3 years earlier, in a car accident. "She was the love of my life," he said softly, glancing at his daughter. "I still miss her every day. The Lily. She's my reason to keep going." Evelyn listened, really listened. It had been so long since she'd had a conversation that wasn't about money or markets, and for the first time in a long time, she opened up about her work, about her loneliness, about how success felt emptier than she ever imagined. For the first time, Evelyn felt human. When the flight attendant came by with snacks, Daniel ordered a juice box for Lily, and nothing for himself. Evelyn noticed, later, when he stepped away, she quietly paid for his meal. When he came back, his tray was full. "I didn't order this," he said, confused. Evelyn smiled. "Consider it a thank you for the charger and your story." He looked touched. "Thank you. That's really kind." As the flight continued, they talked about life, and struggles. Daniel told her he worked 2 jobs just to keep Lily in a good school. "I'll do whatever it takes," he said. Evelyn felt something shift inside her. Here was a man who had lost everything, yet still held on to hope. As the plane began to land, Lily woke up, rubbed her eyes, and smiled at Evelyn. Did you sleep good? She asked. Evelyn laughed softly. I did. Thanks to your dad's shoulder. When they landed and began to part ways, Evelyn stopped him. Do you have a card, or something? Daniel smiled. I'm afraid I don't. Then write your number, she said. He hesitated, then did. They said goodbye. But something stayed with her. The next morning, Evelyn couldn't stop thinking about them. Her office felt colder than ever. So she made a decision. 3 weeks later, Daniel received a letter. It was a note. $25,000. Enough to change their lives. And a message that read, think of this as an investment in kindness. Months later, Evelyn stood on a stage, and instead of talking about business, he told their story. He ended with these words. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness can change more than a moment. They can change a life. And as she walked off stage, a message appeared on her phone. Who's Daniel? Lily got straight A's. She wants to be a pilot someday. Evelyn smiled. Her eyes filled with tears. Maybe kindness doesn't just ripple. Maybe it takes flight. If this story touched your heart, take a moment today to be kind, because you never know whose life you might be changing. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that remind us kindness still matters. Red Heart.